on brilliantly. Earlier on in the day we had a great mini GP50 race, LC40 Elites going down to the last lap as well. The AC40 rookies, as we can see them heading out onto the racetrack for the green flag lap. So I'll hand you back over to Chris for the grid.
Thank you very much. Well, to run through top threes so far in both races, it's been Blake Wilson, Ollie Sims and Casey Sperry, then Blake Wilson, Archie Gibbs and Ollie Sims. I think you see the pattern that has formed there. Blake Wilson, who came into this round fourth in the championship, really starting to move
up. That's Blake Wilson there.
But as we say that, there is problems at the second chicane for Blake Wilson, and oh dear, the rider who has won both races so far this weekend, is he going to be in this race? Well, as Liam keeps an eye on that one, I'm going to run through the grid. Blake Wilson is due to be on the front row with Archie Gibbs, then it's Ollie Sims and Joshua Williams, Luke Fitchett and Marco Holt, Casey Sperry and Thorley Trevorrow, Arnie Carr and Brandon Keane round out the top 10, Archie O'Brien and Wilson Dilks are row 6, Bailey Lawrence and William Harris are row 7, then it's Harry Payne and Max Wilson, Chloe Saw and Izzy Carter, Callum Maxwell and Tristan Poyser. And Liam, I think we have good news for Blake Wilson.
Yes, Blake Wilson has managed to get his bike started once again. He's back in the race, obviously, as he's head back round to the grid. But just give a big shout out to the number 46, Izzy Carter. Now, she stands out to a lot of the field because, well, she's racing a pink bike. She's known as Mini Rossi, and she is just returned after an awful injury earlier on in the season, training at Tattershall. She got hit by another rider and unfortunately had a big breakage to her ankle, and I think it was a tib and fib. So she's doing absolutely brilliantly, coming back from all of that. So she may be at the back, but she's doing an absolutely brilliant job at the same time, and she's progressing every single weekend because she's still not at full fitness yet.
And 50,000 followers on Instagram as well.
It's massive.
But, you know, she's not quite at my level yet, but you know, she's getting there. But you can catch her, Mini Rossi, and keep an eye on her progress. But Blake Wilson pulls up to the front row. Looks like we're ready for a race start. Here's Liam to talk you through the first lap.
Yeah, so as the marshals pull off the side of the grid, the riders are revving up, ready to go. Hopefully we won't see some creeping. The final marshal pulls off to the side. Blake Wilson on the left, Archie Gibbs on the right. Revs are rising, and as the flag drops, away we go, pushing the bikes. Who's it going to be? Blake Wilson holds the lead into turn number 1 ahead of championship rival Archie Gibbs. Ollie Sims is looking like he's trying to make a move round the outside into third spot, as we see some battling going on further down the order. So it's Blake Wilson who leads Archie Gibbs for the moment there. It looks like these two could be still battling as they head around the final part of the circuit into the hairpin. They go. Archie Gibbs, who's it going to be? Blake Wilson takes the defensive line like he did back in race number 2 earlier on this morning, as we see the other runners and riders coming past through the bottom end of the circuit. All these riders putting in a great effort to give us some fantastic rookies race action. Even though some of them have not got as much experience as the other riders, they're putting in as much effort as they possibly can. Casey Spady up the inside of the number 58 into one of the top positions. So that's Casey Spady making a move earlier on in this race. Finished 5th earlier on in race number 2 and in 3rd spot in the wet yesterday. So come across the line to tick off lap number 1. Blake Wilson still leads the way ahead of Archie Gibbs as they go through the first chicane. Can Archie Gibbs do anything about Blake Wilson, Chris?
Well, we will find out. Blake Wilson under a lot of pressure there. Number 108 runs the number 8 because keen to get to that number next year is Blake Wilson. And there you can see coming through the hairpin round the back of the circuit as they make their way now over the crest. Archie Gibbs just taking a bit of a wider line in places here, just trying to see if he can get the run on our leader Blake Wilson as they make their way into the infield hairpins now. We've got some battling going on here. It looks like the number 15 we were briefly looking out there a little bit further back down the order as they tip their way through the hairpins and up towards the last corner. Looks like Blake Wilson is still leading out front though. Oh no, we had an incident there. That looks like the number 33 who has had a bit of an... Is that the 333 actually? I wonder if Brandon Keane who has come off. 2 riders. I only saw the one bike though, but sadly 2 riders seem to have come off down the back straight. So I'll try and find out who that is, Liam, while you return to the action.
Yeah, so if you look out to see who that could be. Back to the battle for 3rd. It's Williams, Sims, Fitchett and Casey Spady. We've got another rider who's stopped. Who's
that was from the incident, yeah.
Yeah, so that could be another rider from the incident. Thankfully they are okay, but we've got to move for 4th place. Yes, we do. Yes, it looks like Fitchett's made the move up the inside of Sims. He's now into 4th. Yellow flags are waving as we come to the part of the track where the incident was last time round. Fitchett's on a move here up the inside of Williams into 3rd. Yes, he does well. Here we've got Casey Spady who hits Sims, who hits Williams, into the hairpin there. So Casey Spady, audacious but brilliant as he went up the inside into the hairpin. And we've got Williams who's trying to fight back after losing 3rd. He's gone all the way back down to 6th position. So in a matter of one corner, he gets shoved out of the way in actual fact of all the race action. But Casey Spady is on an absolute charge at the moment. After he got his first podium of the season yesterday, he's found a new level of confidence, and 5th place in the dry, his best result of the season so far in the dry. And he's just shown what he can do when all the riders don't know the circuit. So this is the only circuit they come to all year that everything is on a level playing field. So Casey Spady on the number 20. If you watch MotoGP, you'll recognise the number 20 of Fabio Quartararo. So he must be a bit of a fan of the young Frenchman. But as the riders make their way through past the bag markers, oh look, Casey Spady's getting setting up by the bag markers. He's trying to find his way around the bag markers. This gives an opportunity for Sims up the inside, but Williams is coming back even tighter up the inside. It's a very tight hairpin. Watch yourself as they go through it. Once again, they're doing so well to stay on the bikes. This is a battle for 4th, 5th and 6th position. Williams up the inside of Sims. Has he done it into the penultimate corner? Yes, he has done. Great move there from Williams to make his way up the inside of Sims, who is 2nd in the championship, only 4 points behind Archie Gibbs, coming into this 3rd and final race of the weekend. But the battle for the lead is still continuing. Wilson still leads the race by 1/10 of a second over your championship leader Archie Gibbs. We're still watching this battle for 5th and 6th position out of the chicane to go into the hairpin. Casey Spady just looks over his shoulders, lost a bit of drive coming out of the hairpin, over the brow to go, tipping it right. Will Williams make up the inside? Not doing it just yet. He'll be wanting a little bit of revenge on Spady after Spady unceremoniously shoved him out of the way a few laps ago at the hairpin going into the infield section of the circuit. Late on the brakes once again. We've got Sims looking up the inside this time of Williams, not doing anything about it just at the moment. There's a few laps remaining of this race. This is an embroiled battle. Well, look at that. Williams round the outside of Spady into the penultimate corner. Got amazing drive from the hairpin. And wow, what a move there from Williams to take 4th position. Can he catch Fitchett in 3rd, or is Fitchett too far up the road? 3.4 seconds up to Fitchett, so it looks like it could be a bit of a tall order. But look at Sims, who's looking at round the outside of Spady, Chris.
Really fantastic racing from our rookies. You've got to remember the youngest and most least experienced riders here that we are following. This is their final race of the weekend, so this almost their final chance to go out and get a good result. It's Blake Wilson leading from Archie Gibbs. Luke Fitchett has the fastest lap in 3rd. Then it's Joshua Williams, Casey Spary, who we've talked a lot about, Ollie Sims, Marco Holt, Brandon Keane, Harry Payne. William Harris is just inside the top 10. Archie Bryant just outside. Then it's Trevor O'Dilks, Chloe Saul, Izzy Carter, who may have been the riders off. We have the number 10 who has unfortunately run into problems, which is William Harris, who is unfortunately off from 10th place. But our leaders very close together. Blake Wilson and Archie Gibbs it is for the lead as we go into the final 2 laps of the race, Liam.
Look, Fitchett is closed right up to the back of Archie Gibbs in the last few laps there. So Fitchett is on an absolute charge. Look at him there. He's in 2nd. He's in 3rd spot right behind Archie Gibbs as they go through the chicane, the 2nd chicane into the hairpin. And as they go through that chicane into that hairpin, they're powering out of it now, and they'll be coming over the crest of the hill into the right-hander. So we're looking at the battle further back for 4th and 5th position, and Casey Spady is still holding it at the moment in 5th. Joshua Williams is still in 4th spot. So the leaders, Blake Wilson has a 1.7 second advantage at the top of the field, obviously getting past the back markers a little bit easier than Archie Gibbs did, and which is given Luke Fitchett. There we go once again. That's Williams up the inside of the back marker. So we've got Ollie Sims just troubled a little bit in this back marker at the moment, so falling back ever so slightly. Casey Spady's moved back up into 4th spot. But here we go. Here's the leaders. It's the final lap. It's Blake Wilson holding the lead at the moment, 9/10 of a second, 8/10 of a second different in the lap times. And final lap, Archie Gibbs, can he do it? Can Luke Fitchett do it? Up the side, into second, at the second chicane, he's done it. Bike is moving. Chris, this is a crescendo of the last lap as he head into the bottom end of the circuit.
Well, Fitchett, one down, one to go, I guess you could say. And there was a look from our leader, Blake Wilson, who was seeing that he's being caught, and Blake Wilson is defending. Here is Luke Fitchett looking left, now right as they come through the long left-hander. Now they flick right and they'll go to the two infield hairpins. Oh, and almost contact there between Wilson and Fitchett. Don't forget about Archie Gibbs behind as well. They go through the first hairpin. There is the second hairpin. Wilson just about holding on for now. Is it going to be last lap drama once again here at Lydd? I think it might be. Luke Fitchett's trying to get the run. Could we see a drag to the line, I wonder? Fitchett's got a fantastic run. It's going to be a drag to the line, and I think Fitchett's done it. Fitchett looks like he has. Luke Fitchett steals it. Victory for Fitchett at Lydd in race number 3. Wilson is going to be absolutely devastated, and Gibbs finishes in third place. What a result. That is Luke Fitchett's first win of 2019, and perhaps his first ever. Luke Fitchett, fantastic ride. He'd had 8 podiums so far this season. He was desperate for a win, and he finally got it, and I don't think he could have planned that one any better, Liam. What a ride from Luke Fitchett.
Oh, they're so lucky not to come off as they came across the start-finish line there. Luke Fitchett, what an incredible final lap.
I was going to say to you, it looked like Wilson just sat up between the two apexes of the final corner, and I think that is where Luke Fitchett, who had his knee down the whole way, was able to get the run.
Yeah, a great ride there from Luke Fitchett. We spoke to him earlier on in the weekend. He was looking for a race win, and he's now ended up picking up that first race win. So Luke Fitchett takes his first race win of 2019, a 10th of a second ahead of Wilson. It doesn't look that close, but trust me, it was a lot closer than that as it came across the start finish line. Archie Gibbs takes important points for the championship. Casey Sperry takes 4th position, his best result in the dry of the 2019 AC40 Rookies Championship. But then we've got Williams in 5th ahead of Brandon Keane, Payne in 7th ahead of Marco Holt in 8th, Archie O'Brien in 9th spot ahead of Harris. They're rounding out your top 10. Thirdly, Trevorrow in 11th ahead of Wilson Dilks. Then we had Ollie Sims, who dropped all the way back to 13th. Not sure what happened there to Sims, but Sims drops all the way back down to 13th place at the end of the race. Wilson in 14th, and Chloe Sewell rounds out your runners and riders for the top 15, your point scoring positions. So Chris, wow, we need to get our breath back from that one, because that was a brilliant last lap.
Fantastic stuff. It's the second time today that we have seen a race decided through that last corner and going down to the start finish line, and I didn't know if he'd done it at first, but it did look like from looking head on that Luke Fitchett had got the run, and there was just nothing. It must be so painful when you're in Blake Wilson's position, when you can just look over and see a bike coming past you and there is literally nothing you can do to stop it. Fitchett, well, I think those last 2 laps, as you said, I remember you saying, you know, from nowhere Luke Fitchett's caught, and he did it. Took 2 riders pretty much in the space of 1 lap. He couldn't have rode that race any better, and deserved first win for Luke Fitchett.
Indeed, a great race win from Luke Fitchett. Gives him confidence for the rest of the season. But we're waiting the Mini GP70s to head out onto circuit. This is the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship of 2019, and we're looking forward to a great championship. Race number 3 coming from Lydd in Kent. This is the Premier Class of FAB. The Mini GP70s make the way around the green flag lap, and it's Ryan Hitchcock who starts from pole position. Championship leader formerly James Cook will be starting from second. 7 wins in a row for Evan Belford going into this race. He'll be starting from 3rd place ahead of Eddie O'Shea on bike 114. Harrison Crosby on bike number 69 will be heading off row number 3 and 5th out of Joe Farragher there. So does that look like
Well, whatever
Johnny
it was.
Garnes on bike 57 having a bit of an issue as he heads round to the grid. So
Problem solved, though.
Yes, problem solved indeed. So fingers crossed he can get back around and start this race. But the rest of the runners and riders, we've got Ollie Walker in 7th position on the grid on bike number 48, picking up 1 win this season and 3 podiums, 6th in the championship, ahead of Kyle Payne. Johnny Garnes, who we just saw having issues on the green flag lap, picked up 2 podium positions so far this year, will be starting from 9th on the grid, and rounding out the top 10 is the first of the Mellors is Dylan Miller in 10th. Thomas Gomez in 11th spot ahead of Carter Brown on bike number 37. Bailey Stewart Campbell, watch out for him, he came from 13th all the way to 2nd in race number 2, fastest lap of the weekend for Bailey Stewart Campbell. Owen Miller, Saffron Watley, Alfie Davidson and Finn Smart round out your runners and riders ahead of the Mini GP 50s.
Well, here we go then. It's going to be a 14-lap race, race number 3 for Mini GP 70. Look to the flag, revs rise. Who's going to get the run into turn 1? We're off away, and it looks like that's James Cook who's going to lead us going into the first corner for the first time. Let's hope James Cook can have a clean race for the first time this weekend as we now head through the second chicane. That looks like, I think Evan Belford or Ryan Hitchcock has slotted into second place as we go down towards the hairpin for the first time. Watch out for Bailey Stewart Campbell, came from 13th to 2nd in race number 2, and Bailey Stewart Campbell will be hoping for similar progress this time as they now turn their way down towards the final corner. For the first time in towards the final corner we go. James Cook leading the way at the moment. Further back we've got a lot of action there, almost 3 wide going into the last corner. It's been Evan Belford who has been unbeaten so far this weekend. Can he be beaten in the final race as we see the number 31 of Dylan Miller making a move on, I think that was Carter Brown, going into the first corner. Have we seen a change for lead? I think we're about to. I think that's Belford trying to get down the inside of Cook. He couldn't do it on entrance. Can he do it on exit? No, so Belford 2nd, O'Shea is 3rd, and then that looks like Hitchcock in 4th.
Just to confuse us once again, James Cook has changed his fading, so instead of red he's got red and black up the inside. Belford goes into the final turn, late on the brakes, can't do it at the moment, but if there's anyone that makes a mistake, then O'Shea and Hitchcock are there to pick up the pieces. It looked like coming out the final corner there. Belford just had to set the bike up ever so slightly as he got close to the rear wheel of James Cook, but James Cook is riding a great race at the front at the moment. Had a bit of a disaster in races 1 and 2, crashing from 1st and 2nd positions respectively. Fingers crossed he can stay on the bike this time round. But look at Belford, gets a great run out of the hairpin over the crest of the hill into the next right-hander. Doesn't quite do it just yet. He gets a great run out of the hairpin but can't seem to keep it on the brakes into the next right. Powering down onto the back straight they go. Will it be Belford going for the lead once again? Shaking of the bike from Cook as they tick off another lap as they come across the start finish line now. But look at how good Belford is out of all of these tight right-handers across start finish line have come. They're through the first chicane, powering down into the second. Where can Belford do it? Will it be into the hairpin or will it be out of the hairpin coming through the chicane? And once again, it's not only these 4, we've got Walker and Stuart Campbell. Watch out for Stuart Campbell in 6th, closing down the leaders here. So Ollie Walker in bike 48 and the number 99 of Bailey Stewart Campbell. So this is going to be a 6-rider battle any second now, Chris.
Yeah, it is. It's well, James Cook at the front is kind of the cork in the bottle here, isn't he? It's just seeing a queue start to form at the moment in these early stages of the race as Eddie O'Shea dives down the inside of Belford, and Eddie O'Shea goes into second place. Brilliant move at the final corner. Can he overtake James Cook? He can. 2 in as many corners. Eddie O'Shea 3rd to 1st. As quick as that, Cook has been able to hold on to second place. It's Belford in 3rd. Hitchcock is 4th. Walker 5th. Stuart Campbell is there in 6th place as well. So it's 6 for the lead as we come round the hairpin and up towards the crest. Now, is Eddie O'Shea going to be able to pull away here? Or are we going to see James Cook see an increase in pace? Will he be able to hold on to O'Shea, or will he lose further places?
O'Shea looks like he's trying to open a bit of a gap at the moment. He's dived into the lead very early on, but look at Belford round the outside of Cook into turn number 1. But he's not done it just yet. So through the chicane they go once again. It's Eddie O'Shea leading the way. James Cook in 2nd. Belford into 3rd position. Ryan Hitchcock 4th. We've got Walker and Stuart Campbell. Can Stuart Campbell make his way through the field like he did in race number 1 to claim second position. But out of that hairpin, Cook really struggles and lets O'Shea away, and Belford tries to find a way through. Look at this. O'Shea has a bit of a gap at the front of the field here, so through the right hander they go, powering down the back straight. O'Shea looks over his shoulder, out of shot, and into the final turn. But once again, they've closed them back up through the final corner. There's so many laps remaining of this to take it off another one. Belford into second, into the chicane. Cook round the outside, still holds it. This mini GP70 race is all but over. It's just going to keep on building.
Yeah, well, this is allowing Eddie O'Shea to break the toe now as they come out of the second chicane. You can just see O'Shea is out of our view as we look at our screens in the commentary box here. Eddie O'Shea no longer in view when we look at James Cook. He's certainly not down the road, but he is far enough in the lead to not have to worry about James Cook. But can Belford change that? Down towards the final corner we go. Not quite able to do that. Fourth place, Hitchcock, Walker and Stuart Campbell, fourth backwards, have not been able to make moves yet, but that doesn't mean that they are not in contention for this race. O'Shea, someone needs to do something about him if we're going to see a contest for the lead, because at the moment he is helping himself to a gap here in the lead. Stuart Campbell trying to go around the outside of Walker, cannot do it. And I think we're seeing here, Liam, a case of James Cook just delaying now the group behind. Doesn't quite have the pace. Is he waiting for late in the race? I wonder, has he set the bike on to come on later and he just has to try and hold position? I'm not too sure if that's his tactic or if he's simply just not got the pace that he usually does here around Lydd.
It looks like he is dropping back quite significantly from the back of Eddie O'Shea. 1 second the gap is now. O'Shea is on target at the moment to pick up his first race win of the season since round number 1 at Clandon, when he picked up a hat-trick of race wins. But James Cook, it looks like he's getting a better run out of the hairpin than he has done over the last few laps. But once again, he's the cork in the bottle, and the rest of the riders can't make a way past the second position rider in the championship. So powering down the back straight into the final turn. But look at this, Hitchcock looking up the inside of Belford, not making a move stick just at the moment here. So it looks like they all concentrated together coming out of the final turn. But as Belford looking up the inside, not doing it yet. Ollie Walker's looking around the outside of Hitchcock, and then Bailey Stewart Campbell's looking up the inside of Walker on bike 48. But once again, Cook is just planting the bike in the middle of the circuit, making sure that Belford can't make the way up the inside, and Cook looks to be closing down ever so slightly Eddie O'Shea once again. But Belford's alongside Cook over the crest of the hill into the right hander, not doing it at the moment, but can this give him a good run onto the back straight through the left into the right once again. Don't power out too much. He's got a great run onto the back straight. Will he get up the inside in the final turn? No, he won't. Cook late on the brakes, holds it round the outside, Chris.
Yeah, well, we had Red Bull Rookies rider Max Cook in here yesterday, and he was saying how hard it is to overtake around it. There's not any opportunities really, so Belford's going to have to do something special here to be able to get past Cook. Going to have to look at what O'Shea did. O'Shea was just able to get the run. O'Shea did exactly the right thing. It kind of fell nicely for him that he got the run as soon as he got into second. We did just catch a glimpse of some battling going on down the field, but we'll catch up with that a little bit later on. It looked like Thomas Gomez in 10th place leading a queue of bikes with Mellor Davidson and the other Mellor as well. The two Mellors involved in the battle for 10th, but now we're going to switch our attention back to the battle for second place, which is being led by James Cook. O'Shea, I've got to say, in the last few laps the gap has stabilised, and is that a sign, is that a warning sign from James Cook to Eddie O'Shea? There could be one or two things happening here, Liam. Eddie O'Shea could be just in cruise mode, or James Cook could have set himself up to come on later in the race and is now starting to execute that plan.
I would say he might be doing that, but cue the Jaws theme music, because Bailey Stewart Campbell has made his way past Ollie Walker. Is Belford making his way past Cook? No, he doesn't, but Bailey Stewart Campbell's now got into 5th. Can he make some moves past the other riders? Belford up the inside into the chicane. Not doing it yet. That was close, wasn't it?
Very close.
Cook just chops the nose off Belford into the first chicane. But Stuart Campbell looking leady under the brakes into the second chicane in 5th position. These riders are nose to tail, and the gap between Cook and O'Shea is coming down by minuscules every single lap. 10th of a second, so 6/10 of a second at the moment. But Bailey Stewart Campbell up the inside, Belford up the inside of Cook, very close there into the right-hander, through the left to go, through the right, onto the back straight once again. Who will get the run at the corner? Eddie O'Shea looks over his shoulder. Bailey Stewart Campbell up the inside of Hitchcock into the final turn.
Nice.
Not doing it. Yes, he did do it actually.
Nice.
What a move there by Bailey Stewart Campbell. So he's the man on the move. Last lap would come. Will Bailey Stewart Campbell make a move up the inside of Belford? Will Belford pick up Cook, or will Cook manage to get... Oh, there we go. There's Bailey Stewart Campbell in third spot. Pushes Belford off the circuit nearly. That sets Hitchcock up. Hitchcock loses a position to Ollie Walker. So Ollie Walker makes up a move into fifth position there. But Bailey Stewart Campbell isn't done yet. He's looking for another second position so far this weekend. 2 corners to go. Onto the back straight for O'Shea. Cook just behind him. Bailey Stewart Campbell in third. Will he make a move up late on the brakes? Yes, he has done. He's into second. Stewart Campbell pushes Cook wide. Across the start-finish line comes Eddie O'Shea, picks up his first race win since Clandau. What a race there by the 114 on the green bike. Bailey Stewart Campbell from 13th to 2nd for the second time today. Cook picks up a very well-earned podium position in third. Belford in fourth. Walker picks up fifth position on the last lap. Ryan Hitchcock, you must say, very unlucky to pick up sixth position. The other runners and riders coming through the order, that was Gomez, Dylan Miller and Alfie Davidson for 11th, 12th and 13th position. Chris, what a great race, and Eddie O'Shea, as he waves to the camera there, giving a big thumbs up as well, executed that absolutely perfectly, and a fully well-deserved race win.
He'll enjoy watching that one back, but I think Bailey Stewart Campbell will even more. What a fantastic performance. Last lap, last corner, diving down the inside of James Cook. Belford had 14 laps to try and get past and just simply couldn't do it, couldn't find a way through. James Cook put up a stern defence, but he wasn't able to defend from Stewart Campbell, and there were plenty of other riders out there that weren't, because 13th place to second for the second race in a row. Fantastic stuff from our Mini GP 70 riders. It's our premier class, of course. These are the riders which are literally on the cusp of the next step for them is going into the British Talent Cup, the European Talent Cup, Red Bull Rookies, or Moto 3 World Juniors. So these are the names for the bike fans and the motorcycle fans out there who love watching the junior series wherever you go. This is the names you're going to see. You go to a race meeting, British Superbikes, and see the British Talent Cup, which is always the best race, obviously, come out. These are the names you're going to notice. All these names. Eddie O'Shea, I remember watching him. Cool FAB round Lydd, and now he's winning at Donington Park. So that's why it's so successful, and why this series is so successful, because 6 for the lead. Well, 5 riders battling for second place, 6 for the lead at one stage, and a clean race, no contact whatsoever, no one came off the bike, and we had Stewart Campbell go to second on the last corner, last lap. Eddie O'Shea controlled the race perfectly out front, so you can't ask for much more than that.
I think Bailey Stewart Campbell will be kicking himself for not doing a better performance in qualifying in the rain, from 13th to 2nd in both races today. And of course Eddie O'Shea racing in the British Talent Cup this year, and of course winning at Kilfab. So as you said, Chris, there'll be lots of riders that will come from the Mini GP 70s this year that we will see, or potentially see, next year in the British Talent Cup.
We will indeed, but now we go to the AC40 Pro. So from the top class we go to one of our smaller classes in terms of age. It's the AC40 Pros. Mason Foster is going to be on pole position, championship leader. Finn and Werity is going to start alongside. On row number 2, it's going to be Warwick Brady and Samuel Munson. Charlie Huntingford and Ruben Brayfall just behind that on row number 3. Then it is Clayton Edmonds and Ethan Sparks. Not the best weekends by his standards. Let's see what he can do in this one. Henry McCartney and Greg Marshall are row 5. Then it is Holly Harris and Luke Schofield. And Jacob Stevenson on his own on row number 7. So we'll see what the rider on the number 67 can do. It's race number 3 for AC40 Pro. All the classes we're going to look at now, it's the last time we'll see them this weekend. Hopefully it's going to be the best races for each class so far. Mini GP70 there, and AC40 Rookies. 2 brilliant races, one that was decided on the last corner and one that went to the wire with 5 riders battling for second place, and it was decided again at the final corner. AC40 Pros, you've got a lot to live up to. Here's Liam with the start.
So as you can see on the left hand side is Mason Foster, and of course on the other side Finn and Werity. As they look at the lights, away they go, and Mason Foster looks over his shoulder as he sees Finn and Werity, Warwick Brady and Samuel Munson powering past him. That's Mason Foster down into 4th position there. Samuel Munson challenging for the lead. Finn and Werity nearly getting overtaken, but Mason Foster already past Warwick Brady into 3rd position as they head down towards the bottom end of the circuit there. Mason Foster powering out the hairpin as you see the other runners and riders coming out of the hairpin over the crest of the hill and into the fast right-hander before the left. The wind seems to be picking up ever so slightly. Can Mason Foster make a move on Samuel Munson down at the bottom end of the circuit? That's Wally Brady there into the right-hander. We've got a rider off the circuit there. Not too sure who that could be, but it just seems to be a big problem. So fingers crossed they can get that started once again. So you see the bike getting pulled off. That looks like it was the number 64 of Luke Schofield. Luke Schofield there pulling off the circuit. Mason Foster has moved into 2nd position as they start lap number 2 of this race. Finn and Werity, after scoring 2 podium positions so far this weekend, finds himself in the lead. I say that, Mason Foster just takes the lead of the race through the chicane. So Mason Foster already powering through into the lead after 1.5 laps. He'll be looking to convert that into another big lead. It was 12 seconds in the first race, 40 seconds in the second. Can he go for 16 in the third?
Well, there we go. A change of lead early on in the second lap. There we can see Mason Foster coming down towards the first of the infield hairpins on that number 88. We've got Samuel Munson just behind. Then it is Finn and Werity. They're just making their way through the second infield hairpin at the moment. We're looking currently at a battle between Ethan Sparks and Clayton Edmonds. That's what we're going to focus our attention to. In fact, I think it's Clayton Edmonds versus Henry McCartney, my apologies, as they come across the line. Our race leader, Mason Foster, already going up towards the second chicane on this second lap, and with Samuel Munson dropping back, he's actually falling into the clutches of Ethan Sparks, who could really do with a big finish here at the end. Ethan Sparks, who had a terrible start to the weekend yesterday, recovered very nicely this morning, taking 2nd in the second race. Needs another result just like that. If he can go one better, it would be a fantastic performance. Are those dark clouds gathering? They don't look too threatening to me, to be honest. But in towards the first infield hairpin we go. We are just seeing Samuel Munson going through the second infield hairpin and making a mistake, and that looks like, is that Ethan Sparks going into second place? I think that is. So through the final corner we go, and down the start-finish straight, Ethan Sparks is now in second. Samuel Munson really didn't seem too bothered, Liam. He drops in behind. They've got a gap of over 2 seconds, just under 3 seconds in fact, to Mason Foster. It's now a case of, can they close that in?
Well, this is the two that were battling against Mason Foster. Tattershall race number 3 after Mason Foster came off and remounted. We've got another rider pulled off the edge of the circuit. Is that Luke Schofield? Yes, it is the number 64 of Luke Schofield. But look at this. Ethan Sparks is pulling away from Samuel Munson in 2nd and 3rd position. Powering down the back straight they go. The number 72 of Samuel Munson trying to tag onto the back of Ethan Sparks. Mason Foster is gone. He is away already. And Mason Foster through the final corner, ticking off the laps. Can Ethan Sparks potentially close down your race leader? It's going to be a tall order, a tall ask, but he can possibly do it.
Well, there we go. We complete another lap, and the gap is still 2.8 seconds from Foster to Sparks. It's exactly what it was. Munson is then in 3rd place. Werity is 4th. Edmonds and McCartney looking very close together as they make their way down towards the hairpin. McCartney was just briefly looking to the outside, now tries to get a switch back, and has he drawn alongside? Not quite. Edmonds able to hang on to that place for the time being. Huntingford and Brady behind this, also close together. Marshall not too far behind that. Then it is Harris, and was that a change of positions. I think it was, yes. It looks like Edmonds has run into some problems here. He's run straight on past the infield hairpin. Whether that was Edmonds outbraking himself, it wasn't. I think he's come straight into the pit lane. So what a shame. Clayton Edmonds with problems into the pits. Foster it is who still leads from Sparks. 2.6 is now the gap with 4 laps to go. Then it is Munson, Werity, McCartney, Edmonds, Brady and Marshall. Further back, Huntingford is only 7/10 ahead of Brady, the number 76, just ahead of the number 99. They're battling over 7th place at the moment. That's probably our closest battle on circuit, so we'll see if we can pick those guys up. We'll turn our focus to them. Huntingford versus Brady it is, down in 7th place. Huntingford on that number 76 bike. Up ahead though, Foster it is who leads. Fastest lap of the race for him. He's almost matching that pace, and I believe we've just found the battle for 6th place, between Huntingford and Brady. In fact, no, this is Marshall versus Holly Harris. Apologies. This is for 8th place. Greg Marshall just tipping into the second hairpin there with the number 19 on the back of his levers.
Yes, Holly Harris chasing him down for 8th and 9th position. Now, I was about to say it looked like Ethan Sparks through the timing monitors was closing up on Mason Foster, but as it came across the line the last time round, Mason Foster extended that lead to 3.4 seconds. So Ethan Sparks is in a very comfortable second position at the moment, 2.4 seconds ahead of the number 72 of Samuel Munson. So important positions and points there for Ethan Sparks and Samuel Munson. Finn and Werity not in a podium position at the moment, but 4th spot. Another great race there from the young number 11 rider. But as we focus our attention on the battle for 11th and 9th position, Holly Harris all over the back of Greg Marshall, running a little bit wide there through the left-hander before the right onto the back straight. Holly Harris looking like she's pushing very hard to catch the back of Marshall through the tight twisty stuff. She's very quick to the left to go in the infield section of the circuit. That's Greg Marshall making his way through the penultimate turn into the final corner. Holly Harris, after that small mistake, is already on the back of Greg Marshall, powering down the home straight into the chicane. It's still Marshall ahead of Harris for 8th and 9th position with 2 laps to go.
I tell you what, in 4th place, Finn and Werity is coming under pressure on the number 11. Henry McCartney is closing in. Henry has brought the gap down to 0.6 of a second, and Finn and Werity may be under threat as we are on the last lap of the race. So through, we're going to just see where Mason Foster is on circuit. Mason Foster, who is 5.5 seconds clear, is already halfway round this final lap as he comes through the left hand and now over the crest into the right. It's been a fantastic ride, this from Mason Foster. This is going to be a triple victory at Lydd as long as he can get through the next 2 hairpins and the double right-hander safely. That is the first hairpin. There is the next one. Mason Foster, who came in to the weekend with a 67-point championship lead, is going to walk away with 3 victories and an even more commanding lead in the championship. He comes round the final corner. There is the flag. Foster, 3 wins out of 3 this weekend. Fantastic riding all weekend. Lydd has been a very happy place for Mason Foster. He'll hope we're back again next year. Ethan Sparks finishes in 2nd place. Then it'll be Samuel Munson in 3rd place. McCartney takes 4th away from Werity on the final lap of the race. Huntingford was next. Then it was Brady, Marshall, Harris, Stevenson, Edmonds and Schofield.
Great ride there from your championship leader. 13 wins so far in the 2019 AC40 Pro class from Mason Foster. Ethan Sparks comes home in 2nd and picking up some great points there after a horrible race yesterday in the wet conditions. We can see Luke Schofield pushing his bike back out the commentary box window, so that was a disaster of a race for Luke Schofield, not looking too happy. But then again, there's still the rest of the 2019 AC40 Pro season. So Samuel Munson comes home in 3rd ahead of Henry McCartney and Fennan Werity dropping back down to 5th, but holding off a very, very fast Henry McCartney for a long time. So let's go field there. Bike number 64 is unfortunately not one of the riders that didn't pick up any points in this race, along with Clayton Edmonds. They're the only two riders that didn't finish this race, Chris.
Well, sadly, a difficult end to the weekend from those two, but there is plenty more racing to go this season yet, and there's still plenty more racing to go today as well. Of course, we've got 6 more races still to come. Pit Bike 140s and Moto Team next, followed by Junior LC40 Elites, then it's Senior Mini Motos, Mini GP 50s, definitely tune in for that one, Extreme 200s, and the Sidecars, probably their best race of the season earlier, so make sure you stick around for that as well. Thanks for being with us. This is round number 5 of the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, live from Lydd, the Road to Moto GP and official partner series of the British Superbikes. Thank you very much for tuning in. With myself, Chris McCarthy, and Liam Hodgins, we're now going to move to Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team. That'll be next, and here's Liam with the grid.
So Harvey Claridge starting from pole position after qualifying on pole in the wet yesterday. So Harvey Claridge on bike number 16, but we're looking at the Zero bike here out of the commentary box window, trying to fix his bike. So not too sure there what's happening to the Zero bike,
which is a number that doesn't exist on our grid.
Yeah, so they may not have qualified yesterday, but will still be allowed to start in a race. That could be Bernie Hook that could be heading out onto the circuit, but we'll find out that when they come across start finish line a little bit later on. But as I said, Harvey Claridge on pole position, head of championship leader in the Pit Bike 140s. Jamie King, Robert Cox, who took the Pit Bike 140 race win in race number 2, will be third, ahead of Will Howarth on the Moto Team bike, who took the overall race win in race number 2 earlier on today. Simon Clowes picked up an overall third place in race number 2 on the other Moto Team bike. Sean Whittaker will be in 6th spot on the grid, ahead of Callum Wybrow on bike number 67. Vince Bailey on the Moto Team bike will be starting from 8th position, ahead of Jason Pugh. Then rounding at the top 10 will be Jack Andrews on the Pit Bike 140. Daniel Gilbert in 11th, and Alistair Kinnaird will be running out your runners and riders for the start of the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team race number 3 here from Lydd in Kent.
Thank you very much, Liam. Okay, it looks like all 12 riders are ready to go. Watch for the green flag. When it goes down, we will be racing. And who's going to get away first? It's going to be Jay King, is it? Going to be side by side with Claridge, but Claridge just about holding on to the lead as we go around the first corner. So Claridge is going to lead us down to the second chicane. King slotted in just behind that. It looked like a tidy start behind that. There was one rider definitely who was creeping at the start further back down the grid. Saw them peek out from their position. But other than that, I believe it's been a very clean start as we go. Oh, big incident. Unfortunately, that looks like Claridge who's come off. So Claridge has come off. We only caught the end of that on our pictures, and Claridge is back up and seemingly okay and gets going again, albeit at the back of the field. And well, after winning in the wet yesterday, both races today, you've seen Claridge down on the deck, and he'll be very disappointed with that. Jay King now leads the way though from Will Howarth, Robert Cox in third, then it's Clowes, Wybrow, Whittaker, Pugh, Hook, Kinnaird and Andrews.
Great start there from Jamie King, showing a bit more pace in this race compared to race number 2 earlier on today. Disaster there from Harvey Claridge, as you said there, Chris. Fingers crossed he can continue in this race and that bike isn't too damaged. But look, we've got to say a big amazement to Will Howarth, who is obviously on a Moto Team bike and showing that he's just as quick as his Pit Bike 140s. So Will Howarth on the number 96 Moto Team bike, giving Jamie King, your Pit Bike 140 championship leader, a lot to think about. We've got Brian Cox, Robert Cox, just behind him on bike number 29.
He doesn't ride bikes.
Yeah, he's an actor, isn't he? So Brian Cox, I'd be very surprised if he was there. So Robert Cox trying to chase down the top 2 in the race. Simon Clowes in 4th spot on the Moto Team bike, still leading that championship, just ahead of Will Howarth. There was 8 points separating them in it, so I think after race number 2, Will Howarth took the championship lead from Simon Clowes by 1 point. So you're looking at both Championship leaders for the Pit Bike 140 and the Moto Team race. Powering down the back straight. Who's it going to be on the brakes? It is Jamie King round the outside, but no, we can't do it. It's Will Howarth powering past, late on the brakes, into the final turn to take the race lead.
Fantastic move that from Will Howarth going into the lead of the race. Just like he did earlier, Will Howarth rode a fantastic one then, and he took the win in the Moto Team class as well as overall victory, I think it was, as well. So Will Howarth going along very well here so far. Jay King in second, has plenty of time to respond though. We still have 8.5 laps remaining. Robert Cox is then in third place, and he's only 1.5 seconds back from this, so Robert Cox still not completely out of contention yet. Simon Clowes is fourth place, Callum Wybrow fifth. Bernie Hook and Sean Whittaker have just swapped positions in sixth and seventh. Jason Pugh is eighth, and then Chris Edwards is ninth, and Alistair Kinnaird is 10th. But since taking the lead on the last lap, Will Howarth has extended a gap of 9/10 of a second. He's just set a new fastest lap of the race, 44.085.
It looks like Howarth is pulling a bit of a gap on Jamie King as they make their way over the crest of the hill into the right-hander. Through the left-hander we go, and back into the right. We can see in the background that was Harvey Claridge, who's still in the race after falling off in lap number 1. He's in the 11th spot at the moment, so fingers crossed Claridge can continue on in this race and gain some more positions and not have to retire through mechanical issues. But it looks like Jamie King is pushing very, very hard, running over the curves, coming out the final turn. Robert Cox in a safe third position at the moment, but the number 8 of Hook, so it's not the number 8 of Hook, it's the number 0 of Hook that caught me off guard there for a split second. Hook is now up into fourth position, having starting from the back of the grid after some issues on opening green flag lap. That means Simon Clowes has dropped down to fifth. He's under attack from Callum Wybrow. Can Callum Wybrow make a move on the Moto Team star as they head over the crest of the hill into the right-hander? He's looking up the inside. He's not doing it just yet as they struggle to flick the bike from right to left through this fast chicane section. Powering down the back straight, Simon Clowes has a bit of a gap over Callum Wybrow, so he's holding that just for the moment. But just behind them is Sean Whittaker, Jason Pugh, Chris Edwards and Harvey Claridge and Alistair Kinnaird, all embroiled in a very tight battle for 7th position at the moment. Will Howarth still leads away, 1.4 seconds now in front of Jamie King, and we've got Robert Cox rounding out podium positions at 3.9 seconds further back.
Well, Will Howarth continuing to set a good pace here. Very consistent times out front. Jay King just can't hang with him at the moment. Cox is then in third place. Hook and Clowes fourth and fifth. Wybrow and Whittaker sixth and seventh. And it is Pugh, Edwards, and we have just had a change for 10th. Harvey Claridge, who we can see on screen, has just gone up to 10th place. So this is the start of what could possibly be a good recovery from Harvey Claridge. But Will Howarth is leading things out front at the moment. Fastest lap to his name as well. And he is pulling away from Jay King. Howarth has won both races so far in the Moto Team class. If he can stay here, it will be a triple victory for Howarth. King, this would be a good result after what has been a weekend where he's had a fourth and a third in class. So fourth, third and a second, not bad. But is Claridge about to make another place? He's up to 8th now, and I think this is him about to go past Sean Whittaker on that number 12, and there he goes, easy as you like, has a quick look, and Claridge is now into 7th place.
Great recovery right there from Harvey Claridge, the British Talent Cup rider, and of course racing in the Pit Bike 140s and Extreme 200s a little bit later on today. But keeping an eye out on the gap at the front of the field, Will Howarth has seen his gap come down. It's now 1.1 seconds, it was 1.4 the previous lap. Robert Cox has dropped back significantly. He's 12.1 seconds further behind. He's now under attack from Bernie Hook. There's only a 10th of a second covering them for third and fourth position. So Harvey Claridge may have a chance of catching Callum Wybrow and Simon Clowes. They're within 5 seconds of the youngster in fifth and sixth position. But Jamie King is trying to put Will Howarth on the Moto Team bike under a good bit of pressure at the top of the field. Bernie Hook still in the fourth spot. And saying that, he's actually just made a move into third. He's ahead of Robert Cox. That is Bernie Hook making his way into third position. So we'll then see where that happened off the far end of the circuit. So the number 0 of Bernie Hook in third, ahead of the number 29 of Robert Cox. That gap at the top of the field between Howarth and King has been extended, so not sure if Howarth got caught up in some bag markers, but it's now back up to 1.4 seconds as we're keeping an eye out on the battle for third and fourth. So Cox is back in front of Hook. Hook looking up the inside into the final turn. Can he make it late on the brakes? Yes, he can. So Hook is back into third as he runs a little bit wide. Cox comes past him once again. Hook pops a wheelie as they come across the line. I think they're just having a little bit of fun out there, Chris.
Yeah, Hook briefly into third, but Cox straight back through. Well, Will Howarth, with only 4 laps remaining, has just extended his lead to just under 2 seconds. So Jamie King, I think, is going to have to settle for second place here. But, well, there's going to be no settling for positions in this battle. It's Cox versus Hook as we get ready to go into the final 3 laps of the race. Down the back straight we go and in towards the final corner. Is Hook going to try another one down the inside of the final corner? No, he isn't. So he's going to have to think about something else. He's going to have to reinvent his plans here because the last one didn't quite work out for him. 3 to go, and Bernie Hook trying to get that third place as we come down to the second chicane. This for the 12th time in the race. Robert Cox putting up a good defence here, but Bernie Hook on that Moto Team bike wants to get through and into third. Out front, it's now a 2.3 second lead for Will Howarth.
It looks like he's got this sewn up, barring a mistake as he makes his way through the past the bag markers. But this is the battle on track. Third and fourth, we've got Cox looking over his shoulder, Hook pushing him along down the back straight. These two are good friends, are just having a bit of fun out there. It's close quarters, but very clean racing indeed. Cox looking over his shoulder. Maybe he's not happy with him, shaking his head as he comes across the start-finish line there. So maybe thinking Bernie Hook pushing him along. That's a little bit of a nasty thing to do.
I'm not so sure what's going on there, to be honest, but unlike Bernie Hook from the small amount of time that I've known him, but well, there they go. They're currently down at the far hairpin at the moment, and Cox really isn't happy with this at all. Got a push from Hook as they went down the back straight, and we are just coming across the line to start the final lap. We now pick up Will Howarth, who tips into the second chicane. King is second and will be, but who's going to be third? Because there's still only half a second between Cox and Hook, Liam. That one is still to be settled, but out front things were settled a long time ago.
It's all to play for the final podium position, but Will Howarth, 10 wins. He's on Route 4 and the Moto Team class, third overall, so up towards the final corner. He approaches a back marker, but back marker won't get in the way. Will Howarth comes out the final turn across the start finish line. Howarth takes the checkered flag in the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team event. We're waiting for Harvey Claridge to come across the line. Apologies, that's Jamie King as he puts his hands up in the air for second spot, but the Pit Bike 140 overall win in that class there. But who's it going to be, Hook or Cox for third position as he comes around the final corner? It looks like it's Hook. He looks over the shoulder. Is it going to be Cox powering past him to the line? No, he's down. They both crashed out. That was Hook crashing into the back. That was Cox crashing into the back of Hook as he came across start finish line there. Hook's running over to see if he's okay. They both crash into the barrier. A bit of a hug there. That's nice there. Making sure both are okay. So that's great sportsmanship to see from two people that are just having a bit too much fun out there on this circuit there.
Oh, well, fair enough. Maybe it was just a laugh overall. But there we go. That's good news, I guess. But, well, put on a bit of show for us at the end, even though they had done already. But Will Howarth it is who takes the win from Jamie King. Bernie Hook finishing in third from Cox in fourth. Then it's Claridge, Clowes, Wybrow, Edwards, Whitaker and Pugh, your top 10. Kinnaird, Gilbert, Andrews, Bailey and Gritton, the rest of the field. And plenty of fluid down there after that one. Barriers did their job very well, thankfully, with Bernie Hook and Robert Cox going down after the checkered flag. Yes, it was after the checkered flag, but there we go. Bernie Hook and Robert Cox both walking away, both okay, and both pretty fine about it. So
yeah, which
all
is really
good. Maybe a scary moment for our cameraman down there briefly, but I think George was okay. So we are getting ready now for Junior LC 30 Elite. That will be next. Senior Mini Motos will follow Mini GP 50 after that, Extreme 200, and then the Sidecar. So 5 races still to go. That one was a pretty good one. Again, another race that went down to the wire, not for the lead this time, for 3rd place, but we're seeing last lap drama, we're seeing last corner action, we're seeing action after the checkered flag, so all going off here at Lydd.
Yeah, it's all going off indeed, and it was pretty dramatic towards the end of that race. Well, I say towards the end of that race, after the race was done, as both Hook and Cox came together and they both went down, but thankfully they both got up, both were okay. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a bit of a talking to from a race director after that one. So great action there, but we're back on track for the LC40 Elite class, and we've had race number 2 earlier on today, which went down to the wire once again. The last corner between Johnny Garness and Mason Foster. No surprise there, because those two have been battling it out ever since they started their career and all season in the LC40 Elite. So as they make their way around the green flag lap, I'm going to hand you over to Chris, who's got the grid.
Right, it's going to be Johnny Garness who is going to start on pole position with Samuel Munson alongside. Row number 2, it's going to be Mason Foster and Cameron Saul. Ronnie Harris and Clayton Edmonds will be row 3. Row 4 is Charlie Huntingford and Ruben Bray. Then it'll be Finnan Werity and Warwick Brady, Greg Marshall and Holly Harris, row 6. Josh Bannister, the one to watch, going off the back of the field. In race 1, it was Garness who took a commanding victory from Munson and Saul. Race number 2 couldn't have been any closer. Last corner, last lap decider, where Mason Foster pinched it from Johnny Garness. 3rd place was Samuel Munson. The 2 leaders were split by 56 thousandths of a second. This is going to be a cracker. It's race number 3 for the Junior LC40 Elite. Here's Liam with the race start.
The tension is building. Who will it be? Will it be Garness? Will it be Foster? Or will it be Samuel Munson? Can he get embroiled into the race for victory as well? So the riders are lined up on the grid. Garness leads it from Munson, from Foster. Foster's looking to take his 2nd race win of the day, his 3rd race win of the season. Or will it be Garness? Marshall comes off the grid, looking at the lights, revs are rising, and away they go as Garness leading away from Munson. Foster slots into 3rd. It looks like Clayton Edmonds slots into 4th position. A great start there. Cameron Sewell drops back to 5th as they head out of the 1st chicane. But Garness coming under pressure from Samuel Munson into the 2nd chicane as they power out of it down towards the back end of the circuit. Well, we can see some riders passing each other down towards the bottom end of the circuit there. Some great racing going on at the bottom end of the field as well, not just the top end, as they make their way out of the hairpin all the way over the crest into the right hander, through the left into the right. Still Garness who leads the way ahead of the 72. Munson in 2nd, Foster in 3rd position. So just remember, they will be turning a sharp right into the infield section. Cameron Sewell coming under a little bit of pressure there from Josh Bannister. Josh Bannister just sets the bike up, takes stock for the moment, powers out of the 2nd hairpin. Might have made a move on Cameron Sewell, it looks like he has done, but the leaders come across the line to start lap number 2. It's still Garness who leads the way, a slight gap over Munson in 2nd, Mason Foster in 3rd spot at the moment, but Garness extending it ever so slightly as they go through every section of the circuit. Once again, Foster sticks his right leg out. He's going for a move up the inside into the hairpin at the bottom end of the circuit. Yes, he has done. Foster is into 2nd. Munson can't do anything about it. He's now seen his championship rival and his main rival pulling away ever so slightly, and he doesn't want to let him get away too much.
It was Edmonds in 4 for the end of the 1st lap, then Harris, Bannister, Sewell, Huntingford, Brady and McCartney. It was Garness leading though. He had Munson chasing him, but it's now Foster who has got into 2nd place, and Mason Foster is going after the race leader, and not for the first time this weekend. Is it going to be a Foster-Garness showdown once again in the LC40 Elites as they go through the 1st chicane? We've already completed a couple of laps. It's going to be 7 to go now as they come down into the 2nd chicane through the left, and now through the right and down to the right-hand hairpin. Here's Mason Foster trying to line up and move. Can't quite do it. Behind, Samuel Munson trying to stay involved in this fight as we go over the crest one more time. Johnny Garness, is he going to start defending, I wonder, or is he just going to try and keep his focus on the road ahead and pull a gap? Into the infield hairpins we go. It's still Garness, Foster and Munson. Edmonds, I believe, still fourth from Harris in fifth place, and then it's Bannister, Sewell, Huntingford, McCartney and Brady as they come round to complete another lap.
Foster has been trying every which way so far. They make their way into the first chicane. We're looking at the battle for fourth. Edmonds is still just sitting in front of Harris and Bannister. Great battle going on for fourth, fifth and sixth positions. They're powering out hard of the first chicane. Into the second chicane they go. The wind is blowing ever so slightly more around this Kent circuit at Lydd. Bannister up the side into the hairpin at the bottom end of the circuit, has to set it up, doesn't tag the back of Harris, which is good. Edmonds runs a little bit wide coming out of the hairpin. Oh no, that's Mason Foster, Johnny Garness, they're both down. Foster and Garness are down. They've taken each other down towards the bottom end of the circuit. What's happened there? Oh, that's incredible scenes. That leaves Samuel Munson on bike number 72 in the race lead. It was bound to happen at some point this season, and it has done here at race number 3 at Lydd in Kent, round number 5. Foster's back into the race. Can Garness get himself started and get himself back into the race? You're looking down at his bike, he looks distraught. The number 57 rider. Wow, that's incredible scenes. Garness and Foster out of this race at the moment. Samuel Munson a 4.2 second lead over Harris and Edmonds.
Well, Samuel Munson took his second podium of the season in race number 2. Can he take his first race win? He couldn't be in a better position to do it. With 5 laps to go, Samuel Munson has a lead of over 4 seconds back to Ronnie Harris. Clayton Edmonds is third. Bannister is now up to 4th and has a genuine chance here at getting second. And we are looking at that battle now. Bannister, is he going to go down the inside into the infield hairpin? He is. Bannister down the inside of Edmonds. Tries not to make contact, doesn't. So Bannister, sensible riding there. But now he's going to have to try and get past Edmonds as quickly as possible and get after Harris as well. Second will definitely be the aim for Bannister, who started 13th on the grid. There's a pattern forming there so far today, isn't there? Henry McCartney is then 5th. Then it is Sewell, Huntingford, Brady, Bray and Harris. Now just trying to see where the fallers are. Mason Foster has set the fastest lap of the race and is in 12th. Garness 14th. So disappointing between those two, from a last lap showdown to a crash on the 4th lap. Such a huge shame, but we now have Munson leading and on track to get his first win of the season, and a fantastic battle for second shaping up.
Bannister's up the inside of Edmonds into the tight hairpin. He's done it this time round, nearly made it stick last time round, but Bannister's up to a great third position there in front of the 146 of Clayton Edmonds. Now Harris might be coming under pressure from the number 2 of Josh Bannister. Bannister has the pace. Bannister's been setting some very fast lap times over the last few laps. And talking about fast lap times, Ronnie Harris was a 10th of a second quicker than Samuel Munson, your race leader, the last time round. So there might be enough time if Ronnie Harris can get his teeth sunk into Samuel Munson, try and close the gap back down to the race leader, but he's getting pushed along by Josh Bannister.
That's Garness.
Yeah, that's Johnny Garness walking back to the pits. Disaster there for Johnny Garness. He'll still lead the championship quite comfortably, but we didn't see what happened between himself and Mason Foster, possibly just coming too close together. They've been very close on track all throughout the entire season, so we're surprised it's not happened yet, but thankfully they're both up and okay, and we'll look forward to seeing more of them continue to battle throughout the rest of the 2019 season. But we're looking back to the battle for second and third. Bannister's closed the gap to Ronnie Harris. Harris has got some pressure behind him now, the number 66 rider. Bannister nearly around the outside, but the gap at the top is coming down. Samuel Munson now only has a 3.4 seconds advantage, so that's 0.6 of a second he's lost in that lap to Ronnie Harris.
Yep, we are into the final 2 laps of the race now. and we are just focusing attentions on the battle for second between Ronnie Harris and Josh Bannister, and Josh Bannister almost diving down the inside there. He's coming up to the corner where we saw the former two leaders crash, and he's gone down the inside. Is he through? Not quite, so not able to make the move. Josh Bannister, is he going to try into the infield hairpin? It's becoming his favourite overtaking spot, but he's not been able to make a move there. He's going to have one more lap to do it. It's going to be the last lap as Munson comes around the final corner and across the line to start the final lap of the race. There goes Munson into turn one. This is now the battle for second, and is that a move down the inside from Bannister? It wasn't. Josh Bannister has just set the fastest lap of the race, a 54.3 on the last lap, and I think that's credit to Harris as well, because he is really putting up with the pressure well. But out front, it's Samuel Munson. He is doing the leading at the moment after two leaders went down. Munson was involved in that. He was just off the back of that battle, and now with Foster and Garnes down, the number 72, here he is coming into the first infield hairpin. He is in the lead. Behind, we have a very close battle for second between Harris and Bannister. That one's surely going to go down to the wire, but out front it's going to be a first win of the season for Samuel Munson. One corner to go, and here he comes down the start-finish straight. Samuel Munson takes the win here at Lydd, and across the line Harris has managed to hold off Josh Bannister to finish in second place. Fantastic performance from all three riders. Clayton Edmonds finishes in fourth, and Henry McCartney will be fifth place.
What a race there from the LC40 Elite. You couldn't have written it any better in a Hollywood script. Mason Foster, Johnny Garnes take each other down earlier on in the race, and Samuel Munson, there he is, very happy with his first race win of the season in the LC40 Elite. He's come so close so many times, but he's finally picked up that race win. Josh Bannister just missing out on second position. Harris put in a valiant ride there to take second in the LC40 Elite race. Clayton Edmonds just misses out on a podium position in fourth. Henry McCartney on bike number 31 in fifth. Cameron Sewell, who finished third in the rain-affected race on Saturday, comes home in sixth, ahead of Mason Foster. Great recovery right there from Foster after he got tangled up with Garnes earlier on in the race. Charlie Huntingford in 8th, Warwick Brady in 9th, Ruben Bray in 10th, Holly Harris just misses out in a top 10, Greg Marshall in 12th, and finishing last but not least at the bottom end of the field is Jacob Stevenson, and Johnny Garnes is the only non-finisher of the LC40 Elites. Well, Chris, what would you take from that race? Start to finish, it was just chaos and drama.
Yeah, well, just perseverance, I think, shown there from Samuel Munson. You keep performing well, you keep getting in the right places, and your chance will come eventually. And it came, and he grabbed it with both hands. Samuel Munson, a deserved victory for him, and now he's got that first win off his back. It should open the door. He should get a massive confidence boost from that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him back on the top step again at the next round. And I think Harris deserves a lot of credit as well, because Bannister had set the fastest lap of the race, and he didn't just have to hold him off for one lap, it was several laps, and Harris did such a fantastic job to do that. And Bannister, well, up from the back to third, you can't really expect much more than that. So fantastic race overall. It's a shame we didn't get to see the two leaders go to the end again in their battle, but their battle ended a lot earlier in the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, such a shame for those two. But we've got the senior mini motos making their way around on the green flag lap, and if you think we can have drama and intrigue in the LC40 Elites, we can definitely have more of that in the senior mini motos. So starting from pole position will be the number 4 of Josh Birkin, and then it'll be Bernie Hook on the zero bike. We'll be starting from second position on the grid, just ahead of the number 47 of Simon Huntingford. On row number 2 in 4th spot is Craig Ashall. Craig Ashall, a former British mini bike champion and 3rd in Europe back in the early 2000s. In 5th position on the 137 bike is Aston Dean. Adam Ambrose is next up on bike number 21 on 6th spot. Nick Bennett Next up in 7th, he's 7th in the championship as well on bike 711, so all the 7s there for Nick Bennett. Neil Skinner in 8th spot on bike number 13, and then you've got Will Howarth on bike number 96, 3rd in the championship, 5 race wins this season, 1 already this weekend, 12 podiums to his name. He will be riding out the runners and riders from the back of the grid, and we've got Chris McCarthy here to take you through the start of the race.
Well, we didn't have a full grid run through there. Of course, there was some that didn't qualify who will be in there, so expect some names that you didn't quite hear in that. But we're going to watch the lights and we're going to get ready to go racing. It's Birkin and Hook on the front row. Who's going to get away the quickest? It looked a very good start from Bernie Hook, and it was a good start because he's gone straight into the lead of the race as they go through the first chicane. So Hook leads them down towards the second chicane. Then looks like we've had a tidy start behind. I think Josh Birkin is slotted into second place. Huntingford is certainly in third as we tip our way into the hairpin down the back of the circuit. It looks like Bernie Hook is already extending a huge lead out front. Great riding this from Bernie Hook early on. Oh, is that Huntingford? That looks like Huntingford and Birkin, I think, who have gone down. So, unfortunately, yes, there we can see the number 47. That is Huntingford. He was behind Birkin, and I believe that was the leathers I could see of Birkin, who's trying to get himself back going again. So, drama on the first lap there. We're looking at Craig Ashall on our screens as he comes into the last corner, just a little bit further back. Down the start finish straight they go, and in towards the first corner. It's Bernie Hook who leads things, but there's certainly been drama behind.
Drama indeed. It's a great start to the race for Bernie Hook, who's racing a bike that's made just down the road, an Evo bike. It's 14 of them made, and he's racing one of them. So made there by Craig Ashall, not Craig Ashall. It was actually made by one of the other riders in the championship, Andy Whedon, who's there in 6th position in the race at the moment. So Hook from Howarth, they've taken the race wins so far this weekend, 5 apiece in the championship. Adam Ambrose in 3rd. Craig Ashall, who was your former British Mini Bikes Championship winner, and 3rd in Europe in the early 2000s. Nick Bennett's next up in 5th ahead of Andy Whedon. Aston Dean in 7th spot, so he's managed to stay on it longer than the first corner in this race. Then we've got Neil Skinner on bike number 13 in 8th spot, and then it's Ross Michael in 9th, and then Simon Huntingford just ahead of Josh Birkin after they remounted from their earlier incident. We've got a pass going on further down the field there into the final turn. That looks like Huntingford making his way past Ross Michael into 9th spot there, just behind the rest of the riders, so he's got a chance of still getting a podium position potentially, as the other riders are not too far in front of him. But looking at the lap times, Hook is 2.1 seconds ahead of Will Howarth. Adam Ambrose is falling ever further back at the moment. The riders are making their way into the far end of the circuit, and Chris, this looks like if Howarth can get his Hook into the back of Hook obviously, then we might be able to catch back up again.
I thought you were about to execute a joke there, but
I was trying to.
It was accidental by the seams of it. Ambrose has just gone into second place that we saw there. So good stuff from him. That was into the second hairpin as they come down into the start-finish straight now and through the first corner. But that was Andy Whedon, wasn't it, who's just gone past Nick Bennett. That was for 5th place. Hook leads by just under 2 seconds from Howarth. Ambrose is 3rd, Ashall 4th, Whedon is 5th, then it is Bennett in 6th, Huntingford 7th, then we have Dean and Skinner right together in 8th and 9th, and then Michael in 10th place. Birkin down in 11th, sadly, as riders are working their way down to the last corner, at least the leaders are anyway. Bernie Hook, fantastic start from him, just got a brilliant launch off the line, and since then Hook has been able to take advantage of his lead as that pulled out a gap of over a second. However, that gap came down on the last lap. Will Howarth actually managed to close it down by about 4/10, so it's coming down, the gap between Hook and Howarth, only at a small rate, but coming down is the most important thing I've said in that phrase. Ambrose and Ashall, then Whedon and Bennett. Huntingford, since his crash, is now in 7th, and then it is Dean behind that with Skinner next along. As into the second hairpin goes Bernie Hook. We'll have to monitor this gap. It went from 1.9 to 1.5, the gap from himself and Howarth in second. Let's see what happens as they cross the line this time. Hook goes across the line. Howarth, he's brought it down again. So half a second it came down by, only a second now between Hook and Howarth. Just looking back, can see Dean and Skinner battling over 8th place. They're just coming through the second hairpin now, and Dean and Skinner fairly close together at the moment. They've got a gap either side, so hopefully we see some good racing there.
Yeah, some great racing going on further down the field. It looks like Skinner has just made his way past Dean. Yes, he has done. So that's 8th place there for Skinner. Aston Dean drops back to 9th place, but the gap at the top of the field, we will be monitoring that ever closer as we come across start finish line very shortly. Will Howarth be completing another inroad into Bernie Hook as they come across start finish line now? Adam Ambrose is still in 3rd position, a few seconds ahead of Craig Ashall. Look at the gap at the top of the field. It's half a second. It's coming down by 0.5 of a second every single lap. We're still looking back at the battle between Skinner and Dean. They're battling very closely for 8th and 9th position as they make their way down towards the hairpin. Michael in 10th spot, winning a top 10 and only riders at the moment, but Howarth and Hook on the red and black machines respectively. The 0 leads the number 96 over the far end of the circuit. Adam Ambrose 14 seconds further back. Craig Ashall 2 seconds behind Ambrose and trying to close down the leaders as well. Andy Whedon in 5th. He's made up a great couple of positions there, but there we're looking at the leaders. It's Hook just in front of Howarth. Howarth has closed it back down, and of course coming across the start finish line, 2 laps to go. Bernie Hook leading the way from Will Howarth. Howarth has closed his gap over the last few laps down by about half a second each lap. There's a couple more laps to go into the second chicane. Can Howarth complete an overtake on Bernie Hook, or will Hook continue to hold the lead of the race?
Well, we've got 1.5 laps to go. They're just coming out of the hairpin. Now over the crest into the very quick right-hander, which tips us into a long left-hander. And when we get out of that, it's quick up and down. You've got to get quickly back down to get through the fast right-hander. And then we come into the 2 hairpins. Very big braking zones. Slow the bike right down through those. They are big overtaking opportunities for Howarth to try and get past. Let's see if he can do so. We're going to be going on to the last lap of the race as they come round the final corner now. So it's going to be a last lap showdown then once again today. This time it is going to be between Bernie Hook and Will Howarth in the senior mini motos as they come through the first chicane. In fact, make that their second chicane now. Going down towards the hairpin we go. And, well, Hook is doing well for now. Half lap to go. Let's see if he can hold on.
There's a back marker they're trying to get past as they head over the crest into the right-handers. Between these two, Ambrose is 18.8 seconds further back. So making the way through the right-hander down towards the infield section, Bernie Hook has a slight gap over Will Howarth. Maybe Howarth has destroyed his tyres trying to catch back up to Hook, but through the infield section the gap is closing down ever so slightly. 2 more corners to go. It looks like it's going to be Hook. There's a couple of back markers just in front, but through the final turn across the start finish line, Bernie Hook takes his second race win of the weekend in the senior mini motos. Howarth has to settle for second position, and we wait a long way behind for Adam Ambrose and Craig Ashall, who started the final lap at 1.9 seconds between each other. So Adam Ambrose will potentially be coming across the start finish line in 3rd position. Craig Ashall will be coming home in 4th. And then we're looking for Andy Whedon, who holds on to another top 5 place in the 3rd race of the senior mini moto race here from Lydd in Kent. We're in number 5. So Simon Huntingford, after crashing out early on in the race, finishes in 6th ahead of Nick Bennett. Neil Skinner on bike number 13 in 8th spot. Aston Dean in 9th. And we've got Ross Michael in 10th. So Bernie Hook just pulling off the edge of the circuit there, looking at Neil Skinner, so not quite sure what happened there. Maybe Neil Skinner went off on the final lap before the end of the race. So as Bernie Hook comes back to the pits, celebrating with his fist up in the air, another fantastic win from your Senior Mini Motos Championship leader.
Yeah, Hook and Howarth, it was all about those two. It was over 20 seconds back to Adam Ambrose, and then it was Asher, Whedon, Huntingford, Bennett, Skinner, Dean, Michael, Birkin. What a shame that he wasn't able to get involved in that one. That was Senior Mini Motos. 3 races to go. Mini GP 50 is going to be coming up next, of course. Class we always look forward to seeing. The Mini GP 50s and the 70s always provide a lot of action. They're next. Then it's Extreme 200, who put on a real good show earlier, as did Sidecars. You know, they're limited in numbers, but fantastic stuff from them earlier. It was probably their best race of the season. Let's see if they can up it.
Fingers crossed they can, because Mick Williams starting out of position this whole race weekend, starting from 3rd, which means he's got to try and pass both the Qualters of Paul Qualters Jr. and Jack Qualters. The Mini GP 50s, as you said, will be out next. We had a fantastic race between them earlier on in the day. If you missed it, you can always catch it back up on Facebook and on Twitter at Motorsport Radio, and of course at FAB-Racing, and of course we're also on motorsport.tv. So if you're new to FAB, thank you for tuning in, and welcome to the 2019 FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. And we've got the Mini GP 50 class waiting to head out onto the circuit for the final race of the day. So the first race was held in wet conditions, and race number 2 was held in dry conditions. So if you're tuning in through Facebook or on Twitter, or of course on Twitch, on YouTube, don't forget to give us a wee like and a wee thumbs up, and leave us a wee comment to just let us know how much you are enjoying the race action here from round number 5 at Lydd in Kent. We like to read out some of your comments, and let's see who you're supporting as well. So as we've got the Mini GP 50s lining up just before they head out onto the grid. Earlier on in the weekend, it was Harrison Crosby who took the victory in race number 1 ahead of Kyle Payne and Sylvan Mounsey, but it was disaster for your race 1 winner and your championship leader in race number 2, as he was trying to pass Kyle Payne for the lead of the race into the chicane. He tagged the back of the race leader and went down, so that left Josh Bannister to pick up the race win. As we can see, Josh Bannister is at the front of the field waiting to head out onto the circuit. Kyle Payne picked up 2nd spot, another 2nd place for him this weekend, and Ryan Hitchcock on bike number 43 will be starting from pole position, but he finished in 3rd position earlier on in the day. So the Mini GP 50s are making their way out onto the circuit for the start of their 3rd race of the weekend, the final race of the weekend. And here's Chris McCarthy with the grid.
Well, here we go. Mini GP 50 time. This their final race of the weekend. Bikes are out, as is the sun down here at Lydd. We're at the south coast of England, and it is a glorious day to be down by the coast, but we are not here to do the usual things you would be here for. We are here to go racing round Lydd for round number 5 of the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. This Mini GP 50, if you've not watched this class before, sit back, relax, you're going to enjoy this one. Harrison Crosby is going to be on pole position. Carl Payne is going to start alongside. Row number 2 is going to be Carter Brown and Ronnie Harris. Sullivan Mounsey and Ryan Hitchcock will be row 3. Then it's going to be Alfie Davidson and Josh Bannister on row 4. Thomas Gomez and Lucas Brown will be row 5. Harrison McKay and Ollie Horner row 6. Ben Jolliffe and Warwick Brady round out the field. Riders are pretty much ready to go on the grid. Last 1 or 2 getting into position. Once they're there, we will go racing. Here is Liam then to talk you through the race start.
So what's going to happen for race number 3 of the Mini GP 50s? Will it be Harrison Crosby? Will it be Kyle Payne? Or will Josh Bannister work his way up through from the middle of the field and take another race win? Can Carter Brown produce something? It's all to play for race number 3 of the Mini GP 50s. The sun is out, the wind is blowing ever so slightly, but it gives us some perfect race conditions here in the south of England. Round number 5 at Lydd in Kent. The marshals are stepping off the circuit. The revs are rising, the watch and the flag's down. Harrison Crosby gets a great start, but look at Kyle Payne, he gets an even better start into the race lead. Harrison Crosby into second, is a bit of a gap back to third position there, so your top two have a fantastic gap at the head of the field. It's Payne from Crosby. It looks like it could be Ronnie Harris who's made a great start into third position there, just ahead of Carter Brown. Carter Brown running out a little bit wide further back as they make their way through the hairpin section at the far end of the circuit. Through the left they go, and to the right, down the back straight. Josh Bannister still quite far back in the pack, but once again he's making his way round the outside. He's making his way round the outside of the number 29 of Lucas Brown. Has he done it? Yes, he has. He's moved up a couple of positions there, and to what looks like third spot. Yes, he is. He's in third spot already, so he's going to be chasing down Kyle Payne and Harrison Crosby as they start lap number 2. He's already bridging the gap.
Yes, he is. So brilliant stuff this from Bannister. It is Payne from Crosby, then Bannister. Harris was the one overtaken by Bannister. He now sits in fourth. Then it's Brown, Hitchcock, Brown, Mounsey, Horner and McKay as we come round the long left-hand hairpin right in the middle of the circuit to take us through the quick right down to the right-hander. We go at the final corner, very close between the top three. Bannister has been able to bridge this gap to the top two in the space of one lap, and it's now 3 for the lead as we go in towards the first corner for the third time. Payne leading the way at the moment, but similar to the earlier race, he is under a lot of pressure and having to defend from Crosby and Bannister. Then there is about a 1.7 second gap back to Brown. Harris rounds out the top 5. Hitchcock just outside of it. What is Bannister going to do in third place? He's sitting right on the tail of Harrison Crosby at the moment. He's got a gap back to Lucas Brown. Then it is Ronnie Harris back from that. Then it's Hitchcock and Carter Brown as we go down towards the final corner. No moves being made at the moment, but as we go down the start-finish straight for the fourth time, are we going to see any moves? There was almost a dive down the inside there from Josh Bannister. He still sits in third place. 3 for the lead then as we come into the second chicane. A brilliant start to the race so far, and I'm only sure it's going to continue like this. Mini GP50 race number 3 definitely heating up here at Lydd.
I'm nervous watching this race, not sure what's going to happen, but what I can see is Josh Bannister going for second, and he does it over the crest of the hill into second position. So Josh Bannister moves into second just behind Payne. He's already trying to get to the head of the field. I thought for a second he might just sit pretty in third and wait for the last few laps, but after race number 2 he doesn't want to do that. Powering down the home straight, Payne defends into turn 1 through the chicane once again. Bannister has no way to go but round the outside for the moment and towards the second chicane to go. Bannister round the outside once again but can't make it stick. Kyle Payne is defensive in his attack and his defensive move at the moment. Bannister is trying to look round the outside when he can. It's the only way he can go at the moment because Payne is defending ever so slightly, but Bannister up the inside once again into turn number 6 at the Lydd circuit, not doing it. So this is a great battle here between the top 3. Kyle Payne can't seem to get quite the drive onto the straight, and Josh Bannister goes for a look up the inside into the final turn, not doing it. He's not as comfortable on the brakes as Kyle Payne might be, but Harrison Crosby still sitting there in third, and this is allowing Lucas Brown to catch up in fourth.
Yeah, Lucas Brown has closed the gap by 0.3 of a second. He was 1.7 back, he's 1.4 back now, and he looks like he's getting even closer as we get towards the middle stage of the Mini GP50 third race here from Lydd. Payne is leading at the moment. Ultra defensive lines now from Carl Payne, but has he almost left the door open there from Bannister? Almost caught out by Bannister, who tried to make the move early into the right-hander there, but Bannister is going to look to the outside now as they go down to the final corner. Surely he's not going to try the outside. He did try it, and now coming down the start-finish straight, he's going to have to tuck back in behind Payne. Crosby is just behind this. Brown has got even closer in fourth place. Lucas Brown only 1.3 seconds back now as we come into the second chicane once more. Very close in Mini GP50 as expected. It's Payne just about in the lead out front.
Josh Bannister is looking up towards the hairpin. He's done it before. He can't find a way past just at the moment, but he knows he's there. Lucas Payne, Kyle Payne knows he's there. Warwick Brady is the bag marker just in front of them. He gets out of the way, but has he held up Bannister? Has he held up Payne? Can Crosby make his way up the inside into the final corner? Yes, he does. He's done it, he's into second, but Kyle Payne still holds it, but he's getting the drive out of the final turn. Payne getting pushed wide, still holds lead miraculously. How has he done that so far? Josh Bannister's pushed back into third, but look who's there in the battle now. Lucas Brown has joined them in fourth position. It looks like Bannister nearly tagged the back of Crosby going into the second chicane, very close to the back wheel of the number 69 of Crosby. Further back is Ryan Hitchcock. If these guys continue to race like this, even Hitchcock might have a chance of catching up. But Bannister up the inside once again at his favourite passing spot. Can't make the move stick. Crosby's wise to the manoeuvre now. In sixth, we've still got Harris. In seventh, we've got Mounsey. Eighth, we've got Brown. That's Carter Brown. Round the outside, Bannister once again, and Crosby not doing it at the moment. In eighth place, we've got Brown. Further down the order, ninth is Ollie Horner. Then we've got McKee in 10th, winning your top 10. Ben Jolliffe in 11th and Ronnie Harris in 12th spot at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on the riders further down the field as the battle up front heats up, Chris.
It does indeed. Payne still leading from Crosby, Bannister and Brown. There is about 1 second splitting the four riders at the moment as they come round the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit. Bannister draws alongside Crosby, and is he through? I think he is. So that looked like Bannister just breezing by into second place. Just got brilliant drive off the hairpin, and Crosby, nothing he could do to defend because Bannister went round the outside. Now Bannister trying to dive down the inside of Payne at the final corner. No one's been able to get past Payne so far. He's been living up to his last name at the moment as they come through the first chicane. It is Payne, Bannister, Crosby and then Brown. Brown has yet to make his impact on this group yet. What about Hitchcock as well? Can he do anything? If they keep battling at this rate, surely Hitchcock is going to close in as well. Harris is next along, then it's Mounsey, Brown, Horner, McKay, who's battling away with Jolliffe. Also, I think Harris not too far behind that. Brady likewise. Gomez 14th, but it's all going off between the four leaders. Down to the last corner they go. Here comes Bannister diving down the inside, under brakes, gets it, stopped in time, finds the apex, and Bannister hits the front with a move round the outside at the final corner, and there was simply nothing Payne could do to stop him.
Timely move there from Josh Bannister. The number 2 has made his way through the field into first spot ahead of Kyle Payne. Crosby looks like he's dropped back ever so slightly from the number 25 rider just in front. He's coming under pressure now from Brown, but look at Bannister. Bannister is now pulling away from Kyle Payne, so this is going to be a battle for the ages if Kyle Payne can get onto the back of Josh Bannister at the moment, but the gap is ever extending between the top two. Josh Bannister has the pace. He's now pulling that gap at the front of the field, looking further back at the number 70 rider. That is McKay, Jolliffe and Harris further back battling it out, so Ollie Horner is well involved in that battle. So Ollie Horner just holding it on the bike, number 70 at the blue and Dayglow yellow bike ahead of Ollie Horner and Harrison McKay. Ben Jolliffe is involved in that battle as well as make the way down into the final corner. Bit of movement there further back. Warwick Brady in the way. Warwick Brady's just moving out the way to get lapped. It's come across start finish line now, taking off another lap for the battle further back. So the Mini GP 70 race is coming to an end very shortly, but the race leaders are condensing together. Josh Bannister and Kyle Payne have closed up once again. Kyle Payne isn't letting Bannister go. He's making sure they can put him under pressure, maybe push him into a mistake, or maybe even squeeze his way past him once again.
Yeah, this is getting very, very intense. I've got to say, Kyle Payne, since losing his lead, has not given it up. He's certainly not thrown in the towel. He is beginning to respond to Josh Bannister here. They are getting into the final stages of the race now, and Bannister under pressure here from Kyle Payne. It was once the other way round, but Bannister, if he makes one mistake, Kyle Payne will be through. in the earlier race, we had a similar situation, and Carl Payne did very well to respond on the last lap, and that is where we are now. 1 to go as we come through the first chicane down towards the second chicane. Bannister looks like he has enough to hold on at the moment, but we're on the final lap of the race. Crosby and Brown couldn't be any closer behind either. Lucas Brown trying to get past Harrison Crosby as they go down towards the hairpin. Up ahead, Bannister and Payne very close together. Some back markers is well ahead to throw it into the mix. 1 corner to go down the back straight. Bannister, is he going to be able to hold on? He dives down the inside of some back markers. Payne looks to the outside. Can Payne get the run on the exit, I wonder? Here they go down the start finish straight. Drag race to the line once again, but Bannister it is who takes the win by 0.2 of a second. Brilliant race from Josh Bannister, winning Mini GP 50 race number 3. Payne finishes in second place.
Great ride there from Josh Bannister, his second race win of the weekend, and that's great for his championship, closing more points up to the back of Harrison Crosby on the number 69 bike. Further down the order, it was Hitchcock and Fresh in 5th, Harris in 6th, Sullivan Mounsey in 7th. Then we had Carter Brown picking up a strong result in 8th place, ahead of Ollie Horner. Then McKay in 10th, Ben Jolliffe in 11th spot. Then we had Ronnie Harris in 12th, Warwick Brady in the 13th spot, and then Thomas Gomez, unfortunately not picking up any points in 14th spot just there. But Josh Bannister, Chris, timed that to absolute perfection there to make the move for the lead of the race. Do you think he could have timed it any better?
Well, it was. He could have done it at the last corner there,
giving us something more to talk about.
Yeah. Well, Josh Bannister, I think he, once he got into the lead, he held it very well, didn't he? He had just about enough of a gap to not need to worry about having to defend from Payne, who put up a stern effort as ever, dealt with a lot of pressure. I think Payne has demonstrated that he can ride under pressure very well, and that's certainly something that will become useful to him later on in his career. But we're going to go into Extreme 200s next. Only 2 races to go now, and that'll be with Extreme 200s, and then after that it will be the last race of the weekend, which will be the sidecars. Thanks for being with us for round number 5 of the Cool FAB-Racing Brilliant Mini Bikes Championship here from the South Coast. We are at Lydd Circuit. First time we've been here for 3 years. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, then be sure to check out Cool FAB-Racing in all the usual places. It's great to have you along with us, however you are joining us, be it visually or by audio as well on Motorsport Radio. Thanks for your company this weekend. It's been a pretty good one, hasn't it? We've had wet, we've had dry, we've had last lap dramas, we've had drama post-race, we've had big incidents on first laps. All sorts going on here. We've had Liam had it with no microphone, and that was a good phase of the broadcast, which didn't last long enough. But there we go. Extreme 200s are actually making their way round the green flag lap. So as they are, we will get into the grid.
Thanks very much, Chris, and I'm glad to be back and giving you a hard time. So Elliot Pinson will be leading off from pole position on his number 76, picking up the race 2 victory earlier on today. Joshua Watley was the early race leader from race number 2, but unfortunately pulled off into the pits. But he managed to pick up his 3rd win of the season yesterday in the wet conditions. Harvey Clouds will be going off 3rd position on the grid, struggling in these dry conditions as he just doesn't have the power in his pit bike 140 compared to the Extreme 200s. Oscar Pinson on the number 94 bike will be in 4th spot, ahead of Taylor Lawrence, Jamie King, Will Howarth, Rich Holmes-Williams, Felix Hearn, and Brandon Pearl and Cam Harris starting at the back.
Well, here we go. We get ready to go racing then. Watch the lights when they go out. We will be away, and there you go. As quick as that, we're already through the first corner. So in towards the second chicane we go. We got overtaking going on there for 3rd place. Looked like the likes of Joshua Watley. I think that was losing a place. So down towards the second half of the lap we go, and looks like we've already had some changes out front, and we'll pick that up very shortly. We've got 2 riders breaking away up front, and then basically everyone else battling for 3rd place. Good racing going on in this class earlier on, and I expect similar stuff. Harvey Claridge, that is, losing a couple of places down the back straight, doesn't seem too keen to get on with things. Maybe just wants to do his own thing at the back in this one.
Will Howarth has pulled off there at the edge of the circuit on the number 96 bike. Not sure what happened there at the start for Will Howarth. So that's unfortunate there from the rider that won the Pit Bike 114 Moto Team race earlier on today.
Yes, indeed. Now, that is Brandon Perrell. I think we can see having a battle further back as we now come round. Oh, we've got someone down. One of the riders further down the field.
That's Harvey Claridge. He went down there in the Pit Bike 140s earlier on today, destroyed the bike, he's trudging off. Seems to be a bit of an incident there. Fingers crossed he's not holding his arm, but as he trudges away, maybe it's just the wind is picking up too much and just washing the front wheel out as the marshal picks up the debris. But cutting back to what's happening on track, we've got Jamie King trying to chase down Brandon Perrell. Brandon Perrell making a good start in race number 3 here at Lydd in Kent, but at the top of the field there's Harvey Claridge just putting his gloves down. So called it a day. Probably better to go home and focus on the British Talent Cup at Brno next weekend. As you say, big race there, but likewise here, Extreme 200s. Here's the number 22 coming into our view as they come down towards the last corner. That is Felix Hearn under a little bit of pressure. So Felix Hearn definitely has made some places, having started 9th on the grid. We haven't had a good look at our leaders just yet, but 2 fighting for the lead it is, as there we can see Brandon Perrell just in the middle of a queue that has spaced itself out. There's Jay King down towards the back in this one, just struggling in this class this weekend so far, and almost running a little bit wide out of the hairpin. There's a bike that's not going anywhere, and it hasn't gone anywhere since the start either. That's Will Howarth, unfortunately, who has been out of the race since it started. But Perrell looking over his shoulder. Extreme 200s well underway for their 3rd and final race, and we've got a good battle going on here a little bit further down. There's Jay King trying to chase down Perrell in towards the first corner. We go. No move being made at the moment as they work their way down towards the 2nd chicane. Leaders way around the lap. Further ahead we can see our race leader well clear out front. No pressure at the moment as they go through the final corner. Here is Oscar Pinson, who is just making his way now down to the final corner. Oscar Pinson, who is in 3rd place at the moment. So Oscar Pinson, the number 94 rider, picking up a 2nd position in yesterday's race. So we've got Elliot Pinson should be out front. The number 76 of Elliot Pinson coming towards the back straight in a few corners time. So Elliot Pinson picking up race number 2 win earlier on today. Powering down the back straight now into the final corner. That is Elliot Pinson. Also Oscar Pinson on the number 94 is competing this weekend. We had a race number 1. We had a race win from Joshua Watley on bike 70 earlier on in the weekend in the wet conditions yesterday, so proving that his wet weather prowess is second to none. Harvey Claridge is unfortunately out of the race, focusing on the British Talent Cup at Brno for next weekend. And further back down the field, Brandon Perrell is holding off Jamie King. So that's a battle that is further on down the field for some of the lower positions there. But Brandon Perrell has his visor open a little bit, trying to get some cool air into his face, trying to cool himself down a wee bit, because these Pit Bike 140s give off a lot of heat, and it does feel a bit nasty and muggy when you're in these leathers, especially on a warm day like today.
It does indeed, doesn't it? Well, there we can see King going past down at the hairpin. Nice move from King. Perrell fights back on the exit, and Perrell's going to help himself to that position once again. As through the left-hander we come. Very spread out, isn't it? It's kind of unusual for the Extreme 200s. If you'd seen our race earlier, you wouldn't think you were watching the same race right now. I can tell you that. Very different to what we saw earlier. As we can see this battle coming now down to the first corner. This looks like our battle for 5th place, I believe. Holmes Williams is our rider out front. It looks like we've got Elliot Pinson from Holmes Williams, and then 3rd place is Oscar Pinson as they come through the final part of the lap and make their way across the start-finish line. So the main battle we're focusing on is Peril and King at the moment. Here we look a little bit further ahead. This is 76. This is our race leader, which is Elliot Pinson. 2nd place then is a little bit further back from this. So Pinson charging down to the final corner. Holmes Williams is then in 2nd place. He's 5.4 seconds back. Oscar Pinson is then in 3rd. Felix Hearn is 4th. Taylor Lawrence is 5th. Then it is Brandon Peril in 6th, and it is King. Harvey Claridge is out. Will Howarth did not start the race. Well, 6 laps to go, 5.5 make that now, with our race leader already down at the hairpin. And Elliot Pinson is coming round the left-hander. Just tuned in, you're watching live coverage of FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, the Road to MotoGP, and the official partner series of the British Superbikes Championship, live from Lydd Circuit down on the south coast of England. Glorious day to go racing, and Elliot Pinson, I can tell you what, he'll be really enjoying himself out there in the Extreme 200s, comfortably leading the way at the moment. We've got one more race to come after this, but you can check out all the racing via the FAB-Racing channels and the Motorsport Radio channels as well. Do tune in. You can also go on to motorsport.tv for the first time in the championship and watch back all the coverage of all the racing from yesterday when it was very wet, and today where it's been very dry and, well, very dramatic. That's all I can say about today. You've just tuned in. You've missed an absolutely stellar day of racing. But stay with us for the rest of Extreme 200s. 5 to go in this one. Then Sidecars will end us for the weekend.
Elliot Pinson giving us an exhibition in riding Extreme 200 bikes round this Lydd circuit in Kent. He's approaching some back markers just in front of him. That is Brandon Peril and Jamie King, who have been going at it hammer and tongue all race and enjoying themselves brilliantly out there, as we are enjoying ourselves here at the southern part of England. In Kent, the sun is shining, even though the wind is up a little bit. So Elliot Pinson is still leading the way into the final turn, ticking off the laps. That should be 4 to go now. So Elliot Pinson just overtaking the back markers of the Pit Bike 140 of Jamie King and the other Extreme 200 bike of Brandon Peril. The yellow Peril doesn't know he has the race leader behind him, but the 146, who is clearly his hero, is Valentino Rossi, gets overtaken by our race leader. Richard Holmes Williams is 5.4 seconds off the race leader on bike 126, setting some consistently good lap times. Oscar Pinson, who picked up 2nd position yesterday in the wet conditions, is in 3rd spot ahead of Felix Hearn. Taylor Lawrence on bike number 10, 2nd in the championship, is in 5th place ahead of Brandon Peril and Jamie King, who have just been lapped by your race leader. Harvey Claridge and Will Howarth are unfortunately out of this race at the moment. Harvey Claridge went down earlier on in the race, and Will Howarth pulled off to the side of the circuit at the start on the starting grid. So through the chicane they go. The 2nd chicane goes Elliot Pinson, and it's the last lap. So as it comes through the final turn, powering up over the crest of the hill into the tight right-hander, they'll be flicking it left now to make their way onto the back straight. Elliot Pinson looking to scoop up a 2nd race win of the day and of course the season as he powers down into the final turn. The number 76 comes through the final corner across the start finish line. The checkered flag waves. Elliot Pinson, 2nd win of the weekend. Great race there from the number 76 rider. Pinson will be looking to see the other Pinson come across the line in 3rd, but in between them is Richard Holmes Williams on the 126 bike, and then we're waiting a long way back from Richard Holmes Williams, who comes across the line in 2nd. Oscar Pinson will be 3rd, barring any mistake, but further down the order, Brandon Peril did pick up 6th ahead of Jamie King. So Oscar Pinson takes 3rd, Felix Hearn in 4th, and Taylor Lawrence in 5th place there. So Chris, a very good ride there by Elliot Pinson. Not the most dramatic race we've had of the day, but nonetheless a great race to see how well a Extreme 200 bike can be ridden around this circuit.
An absolute masterclass, I think, is the right way to say, from Elliot Pinson. Where was everyone else? They were out there, but they were nowhere near him. Holmes Williams, Oscar Pinson. Good for the Pinsons there to have 2 on the podium. So, well, fantastic stuff that is. And we've got one more race to come. Guess what? It's going to be sidecars. We had 3 battling for the lead all the way to the last lap earlier, and pretty much to the last corner it sort of kicked off right at the end. So this could be a really good race, believe me. It's going to be a good one. And if you've not watched sidecars before, then it's just an experience, to be honest, because they are different. So they're nothing like what you just saw. Sidecars, always something different to out there, something I would never try, but I know lots of legends in the sport, both 4 and 2 wheels have always given it a go. So it's very historical class. It's been running for years and years, lots of history to it, and you'll see the reason why when the guys jump on it. So
yeah, it'll be a great race, fingers crossed. Mick Williams, Paul Qualters Jr. and Jack Qualters, the stars of the show in race number 2, a little bit earlier on today. So if you did miss any of the race action today, just be sure to check it out on Facebook, Motorsport Radio, and FAB-Racing, on Twitter at FAB-Racing, and of course at Motorsport Radio. We can also find it back on YouTube and on Twitch. And this weekend we are broadcasting on motorsport.tv. So a big thank you to all the marshals that have been out there working very hard this weekend for the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship from round number 5 here at Lydd in Kent. Also to the mechanics that be getting the bikes ready, and the team that have been here setting up the race, from Roger Keys, your race director, and the whole team behind him as well. And of course the medical team. We can't go racing without you as well, so thank you for being here and making sure that all the riders stay safe. And a big thank you from us up here in the commentary box to you out there that provide the racing action as well. So this is the 2019 FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. We are awaiting the final race of the day, which will be the Mini F1 Sidecars Championship. Thank you once again for tuning in all weekend for live coverage of this FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. It was wet yesterday, it's dry today. The sun has greeted us on Sunday, and we are looking forward to another fantastic race action for the final race before we finish up. So, as we can see, the Mini F1 sidecars making their way onto the race circuit. The green flag lap. This will be the last race before we pack up and head home before the next round at Wilton Mill in 2 weeks' time, round number 6 of the championship. Now it'll be rah-rah for round number 7 4 weeks later after that, and then we'll be rounding up at the start of October for the final round, where we will be returning to Tattershall, where we raced last time out at round number 4. So Tattershall will be the last race of the season of the 2019 FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. So as the sidecars make their way round onto the grid, starting in pole position will be Jack Qualters, second place in the championship. Just behind him will be Paul Qualters Jr. on the number 24 sidecar. The championship leader Mick Williams on number 26 will be starting from third place. He won race number 2 earlier on today. That's Simon Ibbotson on bike number 46, moving up from 6th place in the championship a little bit earlier on today. Mark Parker on bike 230 will be starting 5th, ahead of Russ Morgan on bike 111. And the last rider on track that we should be expecting on the grid should be the 230 rider of Richard Davies. So we can see the sidecars making their way onto the starting grid. So hello to the marshals, Lee Clowes and Lois Claridge here on the grid, waiting for the start of this Mini F1 Sidecar Championship. It looks like we've only got 4 on the grid. Jack Qualters on the left hand side, Paul Qualters Jr. on the right. They're waiting for the start of the race. The revs are rising, they're looking at the flag, and away they go. Mick Williams gets a great start but can't find anywhere to go. Jack Qualters slots into second just behind Paul Qualters Jr. Mick Williams tries to push his way past the number 2 of Jack Walters, but can't find anywhere past for the time being. And it looks like we've got Mark Parker in 4th spot, so we've only got 4 riders in this race, but the top 3 are the ones that gave us that classic battle in race number 2 earlier on today. But once again, Paul Walters Jr. has found his feet so far this weekend and has opened up a gap over Jack Walters in 2nd place.
Yeah, I know there was a problem for, I think it was Simon Ibsen who, unfortunately, they've not been able to go out. They've had a problem. Came up and actually told us about that. So, unfortunately, they won't be out there, but it's going to be a good race, surely, particularly between these 3 up front, as it was earlier as we go in towards turn number 1. Live coverage here from Lydd of the sidecars. It's the final race of the weekend from round number 5 of the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, and surely this is going to be a showdown here between Quilters, Paul Quilters Jr., Jack Quilters and Mick Williams as well in 3rd place there. Mick Williams it was who was actually the winner of the earlier race, but waited until the penultimate lap to take the lead. There's your leader, Paul Quilters Jr. in the number 24. Behind is Jack Quilters on the number 2, and then in 3rd place is Mick Williams.
This race could end up in anything, any state of affair. The crescendo is bubbling underneath at the moment. The number 24 leads the 2, leads the 26, leads the 234 bikes on track at the moment, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to have a great race between these 3. But Mick Williams, your championship leader, looks to be dropping off the back of both the Quilters here. Paul Quilters Jr. still leads the way as they head into the far end of the circuit through the back corner, but as I said, Mick Williams was dropping off the back. He looks like he's catching back up again over the crest of the hill and to the right-hander flicking left, but as you can watch there, we've got some lifting there from the number 24 as he powered down the back straight. Who will it be into the final turn? Will it be Paul Quilters Jr. or Jack Quilters? Paul Quilters Jr. gets a great run onto the back straight there before the final corner, across the start finish line. They tick off another lap. Who is it going to be who takes this race win?
Well, here we go into the first corner one more time. It is Paul Quilters Jr. leading the way from Jack Quilters. 3rd place is Mick Williams. Unfortunately, Mark Parker is a little bit further back, but down towards the hairpin they go. And I tell you, is Williams just biding his time here, because last time it looked as if we were going to see a win for one of the Quilters, and then unfortunately Mick Williams, for them anyway, came steaming through and was able to take victory. However, there was a fight back on the last lap, and it went right down to this point, the last lap, last corner. So it's 3 for the lead then as we come through the final corner. This is the last race of the weekend. Which one of these 3 is going to take race 3 victory here from Lydd? It could be Paul Quilters Jr. out front. Will it be Jack Quilters from second, who's trying to get round the outside? Jack Quilters almost was able to get down the inside there at the second chicane. And then here's Williams just behind as well. Mick Williams trying to go after yet another victory. Would be his 12th of the season if he could get victory in this 3rd race. And all 3 of them right together. We told you you were in for a treat in this final race. Sidecars yet again putting on a fantastic show here from Lydd.
This is absolutely incredible stuff from these 2, but Jack Quilters coming in. Yes, he has done. Pushes Paul Quilters onto the cabin. Mick Williams looks up the side. Jack Quilters is stuck in the middle. Who is it going to be? Paul Quilters Jr. still holds on to the lead. Wow, what an incredible piece of racing from these 3 here in the Mini F1 Sidecar Championship. Final lap has approached us already. How has the race gone by this fast? I don't want it to end. This is amazing stuff. Paul Quilters Jr. trying to go for his first race win of the season. Jack Quilters trying to find his way around the outside of Mick Williams into the second chicane, not doing it. Will Mick Williams make his way up the inside into the far end of the circuit? No, he hasn't done it quite yet, but he has Paul Quilters Jr. He pushes him wide, says to Paul Quilters Jr., I'm here. You're not going to pick up this race win just yet, sunshine.
Oh, here we go. Then it's going to come down to the final corner, isn't it? Mick Williams sitting there in second, but can he steal a first victory away from Paul Quilters Jr.? Jr. 1 corner to go. Here comes Mick Williams diving down the outside. It's 3 wide. Jack Qualters goes to the outside, and I think Jack Qualters might have just done it round the outside. It's heartbreak for Paul Qualters Jr. as Jack Qualters takes the win from Paul Qualters Jr. And third place is going to be Mick Williams. They're going to have to wait yet again. It's another victory for Jack Qualters there on the number 2.
I reckon they let him past in the last lap there. He sat up. The passenger sat up. Paul Qualters Jr. passenger sat up down the back straight and led Jack Qualters through to lead as he tried to block off Mick Williams. It's a battle for the championship between Jack Qualters and Mick Williams.
Fair enough.
I think there's a bit of gamesmanship going on now between Paul Qualters Jr. trying to help Jack Qualters in the championship. But wow, that was some race from the Mini F1 Sidecar Championship. We've been given an absolute treat for the final race of the day.
3 wide into the final corner. We've not seen that so far today, so definitely the closest finish there in sidecars I think we possibly have ever seen. Brilliant stuff there. Jack Qualters diving down the outside. Paul Qualters Jr. Well, if I was Paul, I would have held on and taken the win if I could have, because first win of the season it would have been, but sadly they're going to have to wait until next time. And Williams, well, and an unusual third place because they're not off the top step very often, but they were today. And sidecars, that was their best race of the season in race 2, but I think they just topped it in race 3.
They absolutely did. A great race for race number 3. What a way to go out on what has been a fantastic weekend here in Kent on the south coast of England. Round number 5 from Lydd has been living up to its reputation of being a fantastic race course, and all the riders love it. So it's great that we're here. For the first time in 3 years, we're back at Lydd in Kent. So fingers crossed we come back again next year. I believe we are. So we look forward to more fantastic racing. So Chris, got to come to you first of all. What has been the highlight of the weekend for you?
Oh, that's a tough one. We've personally just seeing racing in the rain for the first time for me this season was really exciting. It kind of lived up to its expectations with riders going down. Particularly, I think it was Extreme 200s where 4 or 5 went down. That was fantastic stuff. But today it's last lap dramas. I remember walking the track and thinking in my head, it could all come down to this final corner. Come race day, and because it's 2 apexes in it, it's kind of does lend itself for someone to try and get the switch back out of that final part of the corner and get the run down the straight, and we saw that today. And even when there wasn't close races, Munson for example, who took his first win of the season after we saw a crash head between the 2 leaders, that was fantastic. I mean all round it's just been fantastic, whether it's been last lap deciders, last corner deciders, or people getting their first wins of the season. We've kind of seen both championships swinging opposite ways to what they were. So it couldn't have been any better for me.
You're absolutely right there. The FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship in 2019 just seems to be going from strength to strength. Now, we will be back in 2 weeks' time from Wilton Mill, round number 6 of the FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Thank you to you for tuning in this weekend and being part of the fantastic racing action at round number 5 here in Lydd in Kent. Make sure if you missed out in any of the races, check it back on Facebook, Motorsport Radio, and of course FAB-Racing on Twitter at FAB-Racing, and of course at Motorsport Radio. And if you've been tuned in on motorsport.tv, I hope you've enjoyed your weekend, and we'll see you again next time.